It's time for Focus Forward, sponsored by Invest Grand Bahama. It's Grand Bahama's best talk show, highlighting all of the positive things happening in Freeport.
Look forward to our special guests each week that will tell you about events, activities, and initiatives that are making a remarkable impact on our community.
You'll also hear from local business owners and get a heads up on deals and special promotions. It's time to Focus Forward. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Grand Bahama's Best Talk Show, Focus Forward, sponsored by the Invest Grand Bahama unit of the Grand Bahama Port Authority. My name is Glendia Sweeting, Manager of Quality Assurance and Special Projects at the Grand Bahama Port Authority, and I am joined by my co-host, Alex Thompson, Director of Public Affairs at the Downtown Freeport Business Association. Alex, how are you?
Can I get a little more?
No, ma'am.
A little more?
You could get more if you introduce yourself, sure.
I'm going to start over. I'm going to do it again. Give me the grand entrance.
Quickly.
All right. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, everyone from far and wide, here is your co-host, the host with the most, that's always bringing you the best tea with a little sugar, but brown sugar or honey or agave, not the white sugar because it's not good. Alex Thompson, Public Relations Director of the Downtown Freeport Business Association, the best association in Grand Bahama.
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. I am so sorry. I am so sorry.
Let me run wild.
That Alex is just extra. This is the reason why I'm always trying to reel you in, because yes. But thank you guys so much for being with us today. We truly appreciate you being able to support the Focus Forward show each and every week. And of course, I want to give a quick shout out before we begin to the Roberts family, Miss Eloise Roberts and her husband. I believe you met them very recently. Yes, they did. Thank you guys so much for being loyal viewers of the Focus Forward show. And all of you, of course, we love to meet you in the stores. You know, we buy local, we shop at home, we go to the same places. And so it's always such a pleasure to meet all of you. Thank you so much for supporting the show and sharing it with others. And of course, we are still in our hurricane preparedness series, and we believe that there's a lot of information out there that can help everybody through this particular hurricane season. And so we're working very hard to be able to bring you some of the experts in the field and some of the places that can assist you and support you as you plan and prepare. And of course, we're just hoping and we're praying that we do not have any storm events
right now.
But we're helping persons to be able to get the information that they need. I don't believe in prayer, darling. Okay, so we want to welcome to our Focus Forward Roundtable today, Mr. Terrence Roberts, who is the proprietor of Berkshire Farms Limited. Terrence, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Big titles.
It's certainly a pleasure to have you here. And of course, we want to welcome from the Bahamas Resilience Center. So delighted to welcome Ms. Felicia McBride, Executive Director. Thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here.
And
Big
also
wigs in the house.
Mrs. Jennifer Barnaby, who is the Program and Partnership Director at the Bahamas Resilience Center. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I especially like you because y'all have amazing programs at the center.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
We definitely want to talk about that today, and we want to learn more. We really want to learn so much more about that. And so let's get into our conversation and let's start talking just some general introductions so that our guests can have an understanding of who you are and what you do. Mr. Roberts?
All right, so my name is Terrence Roberts. I'm the co-founder and managing director of Berkshire Bahamas Farms. And at our farm, we focus on education, community, and the use of technology. And what I'm here to talk about today regarding hurricane preparedness is things that we see all the time, but we really don't focus on. So let's just say, for example, some items that can be considered waste. So like we have a lot of dead, dry pine.
Right.
And, when we think about hurricanes and things that have passed, when we see it, one, it's an eyesore. And two, when you think of some people who have traumas, who still see it, it reminds them of Hurricane Dorian. So we've been partners with Keep Grand Bahama Clean Committee. And through that, we've been spearheading this program called Hazard to Harmony. So we're working with some of the local organizations, especially the corporate companies. So last week I had a presentation with the power company, and we're just thinking about how the utilities are affected when we have issues with this dead, dry pine.
Okay.
For example, the bushfires we had the other day. So of course, littering in the bottles, they are a problem. But if you have the sun heating up the bottles, which ignites, but it's catching to these dry materials.
Because they're basically fuel.
Exactly. And then the oils in them, they ignite very easily and then they burn for a long period of time.
Okay.
So last year before hurricane season, we got started, and it was just an intro, like a pilot program where we went out, we started on Coral Road by the sports complex, cut down, and we removed them from the site, and we took them to the farm. So we have quite a bit of space out there, so we use it as the drop-off spot, and then we also partner with Bahamas National Trust, where they bring out the big wood chipper. So we turn it to mulch.
I was about to ask you, so what are you doing with these?
So the whole,
There's a lot
the whole
of them.
idea is, how can we take some waste and turn it into something that can be used?
Okay.
Instead of a lot of things just being chucked to the landfill. And one of the things that we really don't take seriously here at home is recycling. We don't have the recycle bins in different places. We don't separate our trash. So there are many ways, even for our farm, we get food scraps or food waste from restaurants, some of the grocery stores, which can be used to feed animals, but also it can be used as compost. So it's just taking what we consider waste to something else that can be used. And the Pine Tree Project is a great one.
Okay, well, we definitely want to hear more about that Pine Tree Project, and I know you're so full of information, which is why we really wanted you here, so that we can hear about all of it. So we're definitely going to take a deeper dive in just a moment. If we can come over to you, Ms. McBride from the Bahamas Resilience Center, tell us a little bit about the work and what you do.
Okay, so Dr. McBride here from the Bahamas Resilience Center. We were started after Hurricane Dorian, and we were set in place basically after conducting a needs assessment by Caritas, and they realized that mental health was a gap. And so we look at wellness on all levels. You don't have to just come for counseling. We have programs which Jennifer will share a bit about later. And we offer what we've been focusing on to scale up and build capacity is training lay helpers through a program called Problem Management Plus, which we're doing in conjunction with the New School University out of New York. And so that's going to be big for the Bahamas Resilience Center because it'll allow us to see more persons.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. And of course, Ms. Barnaby, tell us a little bit about the work that you do.
So Program and Partnership Director is my portfolio. And I work with other community leaders and organizations to collaborate to provide wellness programs and services to the community. A community that is engaged in wellness activities is a community that is more resilient and can face disasters, can face crisis with a better mindset. When you're prepared, you're better able to handle crisis. You're better able to manage stress and all that comes along with crisis. So we have programs for children. I often tell people our programs span from 1 to 101, from age 1. And that sounds a little bit jokey, but it's literal, because I remember when we just started our programs, our reading program, for example, we had babies who were listening into our Nana Shepherd bedtime stories. And then we had persons who were engaged in our programs, elders who were 100 and over. And so we catered to the whole man. We catered to persons of all demography, children programs, after school programs. We have programs for adults, male and females. We have programs for singles couples. We have programs for our seniors. And so we are building capacity. We're building capacity through wellness programs. And we find that, because a lot of people associate us with just counseling, but counseling is one of the things that we do. We want people to be well so that they will not need counseling.
Well-rounded.
Well-rounded, balanced. If we can catch you before you become ill through those wellness programs, then we would have stemmed the issue, some of the issue. Some persons, they may not be doing well, but they don't necessarily need counseling. They just need an environment, a safe environment where they can do ballroom dancing and feel good about themselves, where they can do knitting and crocheting and, have a sense of purpose. A lot of our seniors, retirees, they are in the program, the knitting and sewing and craft program, and they're there in the daytime just socializing, having a sense of purpose because you're learning new skills that they're then giving back to the community.
Great.
And that group in particular, they have given back to the hospital, to the children's home, to the old folks' home. They've given back to schools. The items that they have made in those classes, that they learned in those classes, our children come in and they're engaged in educational and recreational activities that, you know, just make them feel better, give them a better sense of self-esteem and, you know, just engage them in a productive way.
I don't think people realize how valuable the Resilience Center is, because in you sharing all that, I know you had programs, you know, I've worked closely with Felicia before, but to the extent of you have, and I think she proved, you know, made a statement there, if you can catch people before they need the treatment, then you've seen the success of the programs.
Right.
So the wider the program list of offerings that you have, more people get involved, and like you said, the less they need then the counseling, direct counseling, and we're making a difference. Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay, if I could just pop over here to Terrence. I know we were talking about, you know, I was quick gonna ask you, you know, you're talking about removing these dead trees. I'm gonna give you my address after after the show. But I mean, a lot of people may think, why are you spending time and effort removing the dead trees? Why not just let nature take care of it? You know, why is it important, specifically during hurricane season? Why is that important?
Well, so when we talk about the hurricane season, of course, nature has its own way of cleaning up, right? So we look at it from twofold. So I also mentioned the bushfires. So of course, you have a lot of heat during the summertime. So that's when you have more bushfires. And like we talked about, the oils in them that burn for so long. So that's one side of it. But now when we talk about the hurricanes, we think about the damages that can be done, and then the restoration process afterwards. So, you know, it's more about being proactive. So let's just imagine you have miles and miles, acres upon acres of dead pine.
Which
so
we
let's just
have.
say, for example, you go on Grand Bahama Highway, just miles going straight down to McLeanstown. So if there is a bad storm, high winds, those trees end up falling into the roads. They end up messing with the power lines, all of the utilities. And also they're in the road, they cause blockages, so if you have to go rescue or whatever, they become a hazard. So we're just being more proactive with it. And then we're also thinking of,
Well, sorry, not to stop you right there. Since you're saying that you're being proactive and you mentioned Grand Bahama Highway, which we know is just lots of trees, right?
Right.
How do you guys select target zones? How do you prioritize areas that you need to select to say, hey, maybe we need to do something here? How do you
so
think
that's
about doing
where
that?
the environmental and the building and planning department here at the Grand Bahama Port Authority, they would select the areas, because at the end of the day, for us to safely get into that area to remove them, they have to select the area, make sure it's safe.
I understand.
Because when you have community members coming out, sometimes you got to track through a bit of bushes, so they want to make sure that we can get to the ones that have already been fallen. But it started at such a small scale, and I think being on the show today, we're able to raise more awareness, get more community members involved, because at the end of the day, it's not just about the corporate, private, public sector doing it. It's about making the community more aware of the benefits from removing them, and you know, the more hands involved, the more people are affected.
So if I was to get a group of people from my neighborhood to say, hey, you know, we own these properties and we know the owners of the properties where there's just the bush, you guys would be willing to come in and assist us with going through that process?
Right, so as long as we have the permission to do it, then it's no issue, because at the end of the day, here's how we look at it. The more people who get to move it, now what do we get to do with the mulch? So I mean, a lot of time you're going into the stores, you're purchasing mulch, and then even what we do in the agriculture space, we want to find ways that we're more sustainable. So what is mulch? It's just shredded down trees, wood. So we can take those, mulch them down. Of course, somebody asked a question the other day about termites being in it, so then that can go in the compost, right? So you're just making your own soil. So if we're able to take those down, when you think about how many miles of it, we don't even right now think about selling it, because more people involved, we help the eco schools. So we have a number of eco schools on the island, so they do their composting
And
programs.
they come and get the stuff
And then
from
even
us.
like you have some businesses, I know at the Rand Nature Center, they use the mulch for their pathways. Right? So there are different natural ways to use natural waste. But what usually happens, even for example, someone's clearing down a property for construction, all of that stuff is trucked to the landfill.
Yes.
That waste.
Waste.
And we can repurpose it.
Exactly.
You know, that's Clindia's slick way of trying to see if she can get you by house, you know.
Tomorrow.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
You know,
It's a win-win for everyone.
I agree.
She'd be trying to get the same thing I be getting, all these little benefits. She'd be trying to go around it, you know. But what I think people don't realize when we drive past, like you said, the sports center, and we see that, we don't realize how much, like you said, those dead trees play in our psyche. We're constantly reminded of the hurricane, but the negative impact of it. And the work that you're doing shows us the beauty that we have. Because whenever I drive past the sports complex, I'm like, I don't know who made up the idea to come clear all this out, but it looked good.
Yes.
You know, and it gives you a better feel. Like you said, more people get involved, more work that is done in my neighborhood in Lucaya, not South Bahama. People will say, oh, let me find out if, you know, we qualify or we can get in on the list. And so, but now I know it's not Terrence we have to call. We have to call somebody at the Port Authority. You know, make that phone call.
Keep Grandmama Clean committee and
Keep Grandmama Clean. So we actually we could appreciate now what the project is about.
Right.
Because at first when we heard about, well, when I heard about, I said Berkshire Bahamas Farms.
How are they connected?
And KGBC, what are they? Yeah,
I
what
was
are they
looking
doing?
for pork
But
this morning.
This works. Well, I mean,
I
next time.
was like on a hurricane preparedness show.
Next
He's trying
time.
to tell me get some pork and store it up.
We'll see
in
how
the
it
freezer.
goes.
I was trying to figure out where he was working in this, but you're doing an amazing job in this space.
And we appreciate that.
And I'm sure people were thinking the same thing when we introduced you. What does he have to do with hurricane? But you have a big job.
Yeah,
Right, and then
definitely.
after everybody else speaks, if there's enough time, we can talk about what agriculture truly is, because that's where we talk about sustainability. So if we have,
And we do want to get to that. We definitely want to get to that. And we will as long as Alex would allow. So so if we can come over here to Dr. McBride, let's talk more about the Bahamas Resilience Center, because I'm also learning more about what it is that's being offered. And yes, I always thought at the very beginning when you guys had your opening, and that would have been a year and some ago.
No.
Was that a year ago?
The grand opening in the back.
The grand opening,
location.
right,
Yes.
in the new location,
Yeah.
in the new location. I just simply thought that it was a place where persons can come if they needed to get some counseling, they were going through some issues mentally, maybe they would have needed some assistance, someone to just give them the kind of advice or direct them to the help that they may need otherwise. But I'm learning so much more now. So give us a broader overview of what the Resilience Center truly offers as a whole.
Well, when it comes to what we offer, there's a wealth of what we do. We offer events and programs based on when we do surveys within the community. We've offered in the past backyard farming. We've offered holistic seminars. We've offered entrepreneurial seminars.
Carpentry.
We've offered various programs like carpentry and sewing based on what persons were saying that they needed at the time. We've offered self-love brunch early this year, that was hosted by PJ from ZNS.
Self-defense.
That was in conjunction with domestic violence. We've offered, as a post-follow-up to domestic violence, self-defense classes for children as well as adults. And so we try to get an idea from the community on what's needed, and we provide programs and events based on that. But we also have our regular in-center programs, which Jennifer would have talked about, that runs year-round. And then we break in the summer to offer summer programs for the children.
I was going to ask you about if you have any summer programs specifically
So
geared towards
coming
kids.
up from the 30th to the 14th, we have our Camp Discovery, and that's now been in operation for the last 6 years.
Yes.
And in August, when it's time to go back to school, we have what we call back to basics, because studies have shown that children lose 30% of their knowledge during the summertime. And so it's geared towards getting them back into the school mode. And so that's for grades 3 through 6. And so we have teachers, trained teachers, that volunteer their time and come and get these children back into school mode.
Okay. And what about with the summer camp Discovery? What ages do you guys take?
5
for
to
that?
14.
5 to 14.
And they can go right to www.gbresiliencecenter.com, and the link is live.
So if you wanted to, what's the one thing you probably want people to be aware of about the Resilience? And like you said, most people think, you know, it's only for people that need mental health assistance. But what is the one thing you want people to know about the Resilience Center?
We're trying to change what is known about mental health. What I like people to recognize is when you use the word mental health, people use the word mental health and mental illness synonymously.
Okay.
We all have mental health. If you ask a room, what is mental health? They will describe to you mental illness.
Understood. Okay.
But if you ask the same group of people what is physical health, they will describe to you exercising, eating healthy. That's because we take a more proactive stance through education as it relates to our physical health. And that's another thing that we do. We do a lot of awareness raising. We do a lot of seminars and trainings with corporate Grand Bahama as well as the government. And so we want to change persons' view on mental health, and we've recognized that through our trainings that a lot more persons have been accessing the services because they now...
Today old, Dr. Bride, today old, when I realized the difference between mental health
And mental illness.
and mental illness, and that is such... you just enlightened me, because we really, whenever we think of mental health, we think of it in a negative scope. And you're absolutely right. Even when I would say, I would reach out to friends, how are you emotionally? How are you spiritually? And how are you mentally? Not thinking that we do that. Now I'm sure, and I know the Resilience Center is run by a lot of volunteers. You know, people may be wondering, how can I get involved? How can I be a part of it? How can they reach out to you? What do you want from the community?
So Jennifer is in charge of volunteers, so I'll let her answer that.
So, of course, you said it right, Alex. We could not do what we do without, or I call them valuable volunteers, because all our programs are run by volunteers. And we encourage persons from the community to come in and share their skills with the community. So if you are a carpenter, for example, and you think you have 6 weeks to offer, or once per week for however long to offer the community, to teach some young people carpentry skills, or whether it's hairdressing or whatever it is, the skills that are, and we have a wealth of skills and talents here in Grand Bahama. We are a rich community in terms of skills and talents. And so what we want for persons to do is to share their gifts and talents through the center by just volunteering. And it's up to you what time you have available, what you can offer, whether it's just a 6 weeks course, a 4 weeks course, whether you can go for a whole year long. We've had volunteers who have been with us for the past 6 years, you know, consistently offering services. That's their way of giving back.
Are the services offered free of charge to the public, to the community, to those who come to the center?
Everything at the Grand Bahama Resilience Center is offered free to the community. Our counseling services are free. Our programs are free. After school programs for seniors, programs for male, female. All our programs and services are free. Why? Because our mission when we started was to make mental health and wellness accessible to all. We know that if you're to pay a counselor for counseling, it costs a pretty penny.
Right.
Sometimes the people who need it most are the ones can't afford it.
Understood.
And so that is what we do at the Resilience Center, providing services, wellness and mental health and wellness services and programs to the community free of charge. So when people call and ask, what's the cost? It's free 99.
Right. I love it. Free 99. I love that. I love that.
You're my new favorite person on the table, right here. Now,
So we appreciate that. And of course, and she mentioned the cost. When it comes to the cost, a lot of times when people think about mental illness or think about getting help for their family members, they think about the cost first. That's one of the things. So we appreciate the fact that those services are certainly being offered. And we just have to get back to the roundtable really quickly for some final thoughts just before we wrap up. So Mr. Roberts, anything that you would like for us to know just before we wrap?
Well, I enjoy that you talk about the whole person. And when we talk about agriculture, we want to understand it as the whole thing. And a lot of times, like one of the things we're trying to help the community understand is agriculture and farming are different. Farming is one aspect of agriculture, but agriculture is the whole industry that involves any and everything that lives or grows from the earth. So when you think about trees and byproducts, things we wear, if you wear cotton, where does cotton come from? A plant. And also it's the whole thing that God has gifted us. And our favorite script, we even put on a mural on the wall at the farm. And it's Genesis 2:15. It says, the Lord God put the man in the Garden of Eden to work it and care for it. And our understanding of that is, if we take care of it, it'll take care of us.
Yes.
And that's the most important thing. And that's where, when we think about hurricanes and climate change, sustainability, it all works together, but we have to take care of what was given to us.
Perfect. Dr. McBride, any final thoughts?
Well, I would encourage persons to come and view our new space. If we were to really say everything that we've done in the last 5 years, we'd take the whole show.
Yeah.
So come and learn us, come and view the space. We like to say it's your community center. We've had persons who have just come and sit in the space. We strive to create a welcoming space where people can come and collectively heal. So Grand Bahama is your space. Take advantage of it.
Wonderful. Ms. Barnaby, any final thoughts from you?
I will just underscore what Dr. McBride has said. Just come, learn about what we do, be a part of it. This is our community, and together we can become stronger. The name was not chosen just by accident or happenstance. We are a resilient community. We are resilient people.
Yes.
And so we want to build on that resilience through wellness programs. Don't wait until you're ill. Come, get involved in programs, give back, be a volunteer, and let's heal together and be stronger. So the next time we have a disaster, we won't all be crumbling. We'll be stronger.
Right.
Because we have built ourselves through wellness programs.
That is wonderful.
I'm ready to put the whole
Yes.
shirt on it. I'm ready to do it.
Berkshire Bahamas not us a volunteer. This is with the resilience.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
We love these kinds of
We wanted
collaborations.
to volunteer. We have volunteers on stream who could help with the project that you're doing as well.
Wonderful. That is amazing.
That's not a
We
company,
love
that's
that. We love collaboration. And you're right. It happened right here at the round table. So we want to thank you guys so much for being with us, and of course for collaborating together, because that is what Grand Bahama is all about, right? We have to work together.
Yes.
We all live and work in the same spaces. We all have shared goals and ideals. And of course, I believe we all want the best for each other. And so I believe that this has been a very fruitful, very, very fruitful interview space right now. And I'm not taking credit. I'm just saying this has been fruitful. This has been some good stuff. So we really want to.
Bring the little piggy.
We really want to thank all of our guests for being with us, and also thank you for sharing this particular video with others. We want you to know more about Berkshire Bahamas as an individual company, but also in partnership with Keep Grand Bahama Clean. All of the great work that they're doing. I'm hoping that they're going to come through my corner really soon so that we can work on getting some of that brush out there. And I could use some mulch too. I could use some mulch too. So that's going to be good. And of course, the Resilience Center, thank you guys so much for being with us. They've grown so much, certainly, and it was said they've grown so much, and we're looking forward to a lot of wonderful things in the future of both of these companies. So we have so much more to come. Stay right here with us on Focus Forward. We'll be right back right after this.
Welcome to Digicom Electronics. My name is Hensley Cameron, the proprietor and the technician. Our services are repairs of phones, TVs, and most other electronics. We also provide a vast range of accessories like chargers. We also sell instruments like phones, tablets, and TVs. So if you have a laptop that's not working, a television that's not working, you can bring it down to Digicom Electronics and we'll assess it, and if it's worth fixing, then we go ahead and fix it. But if it costs more than 60% of the value of it, we'd suggest that you buy a new one, but we'd have to assess it first. We're at shop number 8, Raven Mall Plaza, on the Circle, West Atlantic Drive in Freeport, Grand Bahama. The phone number is 242-553-4440.
Welcome to Freeport, the reawakened, the reimagined, the rebirth, the Renaissance capital of the Bahamas. Over $1.5 billion in investments. Marinas, cruise ports, downtown revitalization, residential developments. We're putting the city on the map. Want to know more? Just log on. Your future is only a click away.
Thank you guys so much for continuing to join us here on Focus Forward. We're having a wonderful show today. We were talking with Berkshire Bahamas Farms, and they're talking about their partnership with Keep Grand Bahama Clean. And also, we had the Bahamas Resilience Center here on the show, and we learned about all of the programs and initiatives that they offer. It's so much more than just looking at mental health from one aspect, but being able to help the whole man, the whole woman, the whole child be, engrossed in healthy things and being able to live a life that's meaningful and fruitful. And of course, if they need assistance, they can have it all there. So we were so delighted to have them join us. But of course, we still have our show ongoing, and we want to talk to some of our licensees and some of the people that would normally have programs here within the city of Freeport. And it's summertime. And it's summer. And it's hot.
I'm feeling the heat. Feeling the heat.
But we really want to talk to them about what's going on. And of course, we're so delighted to have the proprietor of Leslie's Trades, Mr. Cambrell Ferguson, join us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Back to the table.
And of course, Pastor Darren Rule, the co-founder and director of the Falcon Boys Club. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Put
Now,
some respect on your name.
I'm telling you.
Has it been over 2 decades with the Boys Club?
It's been a
Almost
almost three decades.
Yeah, we got to put some respect on that.
Yes.
You know, the head of the
Definitely.
Boys Club. Okay.
Of course. So let's start with Mr. Ferguson. Mr. Ferguson, I am just going to jump the gun. I don't think we need much of a, I don't think we need much of an introduction or context when we talk about Leslie's Trades. Of course, we know that you certainly will, but very recently this year, you would have been one of the featured speakers at the Freeport Business Expo, as it relates to the services that your company provides with importing. And you introduced something that was literally almost unheard of, but certainly something that's needed in this community, in this environment when it comes to import. So can we start there?
Yes, we can. So basically, 2 years ago, we partnered with a company in China called Island A to Z. And now what we're doing is just like our U.S. product, we're bringing things. We have a warehouse in China where you get your things delivered there. And you ship them in containers, consolidated containers. We ship out once every month, we ship a container out. The reason why this is very important is 2 years ago, you could have seen the vision of Grand Bahama is on the up and up. Grand Bahama, especially now, construction is booming, everything is going on. So Island A to Z started 2 years ago just in time.
Right.
Recently, just yesterday, we cleared one of our containers, and another one is on the way. Because construction, you know, windows, doors, all those necessary things. And because Grand Bahama, like I say, is on the up and up. So Island A to Z came just in time because we want to be a part of that focus with what's going on with Grand Bahama. So it was awesome. It was an awesome idea. I thank God for it, and that's where we are now.
So you got a trailer coming in month to month, so that means the Grand Bahama community was excited about what you're doing.
Yes, yes.
And how does that, but just walk me through a little, how does that work? 'Cause if I wanted something, let's say I wanted to bring 2,000 of these wonderful mugs in, I come to you. Walk me through that process.
2 ways you could do it. Just like how you would order from the U.S. You could either go find your vendor. You could give them our address. Our address is on our website, island-a-to-z.com. Or you could come in and you could give us the order. We could set up everything for you.
So you do the whole process for me if
Yes,
need
we
be?
do.
I just come to you and say, Leslie Trade, I need like 5,000 of these.
Yes.
And you do all the work.
Yes, we do.
And you clear it.
Yes, we
You
clear.
deliver it.
We delivered from the wells to our factory, from our factory to the port, from the port to our place, from our place to your door.
Well, let's talk about what this actually means, right? And let's talk about cost savings. We've been hearing, you know, in the global environment about these tariffs and these charges and things that would impact our pockets on the tail end. How are customers being impacted when it comes by fees? Why should I do business with you versus saying, hey, I'm going to order from Shein and then send it to my U.S. supplier or my U.S. Person connect and have them bring it over? How does that work?
Okay, so the Bahamas, and generally, we don't make nothing here.
Right.
Everything we bring in. So if you're going to purchase something, and you know with 25%, and that ain't even customs, the Bahamas customs, or shipping yet, that's just the tariff going to the U.S. That adds up. When you order with us, even when we first started 2 years ago, my Chinese partners say we're not going to the U.S. way before these tariffs got put back in place.
Okay.
So that 25% is a saver, because when you bring them in, you have to pay the shipping, you have to pay customs duty, and then you have to pay for it to be installed. So that 25% to some people is not much, but that goes a long way.
That's plenty for those people. They got plenty money.
Yes,
that's
yes,
25 cents. That's a 25 cents on a dollar.
Yes,
Okay, that's a lot.
It goes a long way.
Yes, and so it comes directly from China here.
Yes.
So what if I just wanted to test the system? Alex might want to buy 5,000 paper clips, but I might want to purchase just one hurricane impact window because I just want to be able to test the system. Does this work? What does the cost look like? Is that something I can do?
Yes, you can. You could test the system. We had one of our customers when we did our first container. He tries out, and he literally just ordered 2 items. Yesterday he had 15 come on our trailer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the same thing like you say. Some things you just want to try because
Try and see.
Yeah, you want to know how it
It's
works.
profitable.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Now we're thinking of this is a hurricane series. So my question then is, how are you and your company preparing for hurricane season, which sometimes offers delays in shipping? How can we be assured that you're still able to operate during that?
Well, hurricane season, when you talk about hurricane season, especially here in Grand Bahama, we should know about preparing in advance.
Right.
So when you, like, prime example, windows, doors, hurricane impact windows, they're very needed, and we find a lot of people nowadays are getting into them. So that's a way of avoiding roof damages, things like that. And what we want to do is start getting some Leslie Straits, put Leslie Straits out there and helping, like, because we do a lot of give backs, but now we want to collaborate with some people just to help out, to put it out there that Leslie Straits are here to help.
Okay.
But then what we started to do a lot is we started to bring in cases of water and giving them at good prices. Because you want, if a storm threatens us, which, like you say,
Praying doesn't happen.
But you want to be able to have things on hand and don't be scrambling around, and So Leslie Straits is here to, in any which way, to help the community prepare for the hurricane season.
So that was leading to my another question I was about to ask you. How are you looking to help the community? Are you going to be partnering with those, bringing in disaster repair materials and things like that?
Yes. Leslie Straits would love to.
Okay.
They could reach out to me. I'm a very easy person to catch up with, and just let us know how we can help them.
And you're interested and willing to help in all of this?
Yes.
All right. And how long have you been in business?
Leslie Straits been operating from 2015, and a licensee with the Port Authority from 2019, yes. And
licensee.
Yes.
He was here with Glendia on the table.
Yes,
Let me make sure.
I had to make sure clear that part up.
So
Get it right.
Get it right, yes. So Leslie Straits been a licensee from 2019.
Okay.
Yes.
And this was before Dorian or after?
This was when I got my license was May 13, 2019. So when Dorian came, it was like, wow.
Right in place.
Right in time.
So yes.
Okay. So now
Absolutely.
after going through Dorian, you and your staff prepared for another hurricane comes our way?
Yes, we always take measure steps. Like I say, we have increased bringing in water, because water is what you need automatically.
Right.
That's the first thing you need on the ground. So we always prepare water. And every time, if a storm threatens, I always keep well amount cases of water on hand. So if anything happens, it's not even to sell, like get it to where it needs to go.
That's some good stuff. So tell us a little bit more in terms of shipping, right? You mentioned that most of the time there's one trailer that comes a month. How is that? Is there like a particular date that people should be aiming for?
Yes.
How does that work? What does that look like?
If you place your one item order, we will email.
Which I will.
We will email you and
Test the
test the water. We will email you and let you know your last date to have the items there.
Okay.
If you reach out to us, we say, hey, you have to have it there by the 23rd or the 27th, because that's when the final container will be loaded up, sealed, and shipped out.
Okay. Now, for the person that may be watching this and saying, hey, I do want to take advantage of this. I know that the pricing may be more reasonable if I were bringing it from a little bit further away in China. For the person that's watching this right now, let them know how beneficial it is for them to be able to do business with you. And I'll tell you why. We are very well versed in U.S. companies. We know how to pop onto the Amazon. We know how to go to our Walmart and our Targets and all of those places. But Chinese businesses is kind of new for all intents and purposes. So why should we do business with you? And are you prepared possibly to be, maybe even recommend a few places where we can shop so that we can bring our goods over with you?
Why you should do business with Leslie Straits on Island A to Z is basically because we didn't just partner with a company and just put a name there, decided that we're going to do this. We did a pop-up shop where we had persons come in to feel the products, test them, because gone are the days of years ago when you order something from China, you used to get mad. Right. So Leslie Straits has tried the products, we've tested them. We even down the Hurricane and Park windows, I could say I have some that I could say, okay, they're good. Mm-hmm. So you're not just dealing with somebody who's trying to sell you a product, you're dealing with somebody who knows the product. Mm-hmm. And Leslie Straits is committed, and Island A to Z is committed to make sure that you get it here in a timely fashion manner and at a good price.
So it's probably a little bit more feasible then for someone who is trying to purchase for the first time in China to probably come to you first. Yeah. Probably check in with you, deal with your suppliers so that they can ensure that they can get the quality and the security that they're looking for through the transaction.
Yes, because what we also do to add to that is when they get delivered to our warehouse, they check it for damages to make sure this is the product you want. They send pictures. Mm-hmm. So you could say, hey, that's not what I order. And we send it back.
Because gone are the days.
Gone are those days.
Because we used to buy plenty of stuff from China, just trying things out, trying a little business or whatever the case may be, and it's not exactly
the quality. It's supposed to be this big and it comes this big.
Yes. We don't want that. We don't want that.
Let me not throw my husband under the bus.
Okay.
Oh, goodness. I said buy local, shop at home.
Why are you doing my friend bad like that?
Buy local, shop at home.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ferguson. And certainly we're going to come back to you, but we want to come over here to Pastor Darren Roll, and we want to talk a little bit about Falcon Boys Club. You had mentioned almost 30 years of service in this community to the boys who are now men in a lot of cases. Tell us about the program. First of all, what is the Falcon Boys Club?
We are, first of all, a legal licensee of the Grand Bahama Port Authority.
Thank you very much for clearing that up.
You just put fair in all of our guests.
I did not. I'm sitting here asking questions.
Need to make sure they're licensed.
Yes, and a strategic partner. Falcons Boys Club is a mentoring club that uses the game of basketball to mentor boys. So once a boy becomes a part of the program, we put holistic programs together to be able to reach them. And since no man is an island, we literally get the community involved in what it is that we do. Some of the programs are on campus at the Champs Community Center in Hawksbill, and all of the properties of the Grand Bahama Port Authority have been donated to the Falcons Boys Club that we have down at the community center. Wonderful. And then we find opportunities to not just do events on the campus, we do events in the community, and we also do events within the local schools. So we are in partnership with the Ministry of Education. We are licensed by the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, and we get other men involved in the community who has the desire to be able to help the community. We've been involved with the Grand Bahama Port Authority, the Grand Bahama Cleanup, from East End to West End over the past 29 years, and being able to help do. So when I heard you talking about the beach cleanup, etc., I remember years ago we were one of the coordinators and helping to coordinate for about 15 to 20 years, almost the area of Williamstown, all the way up to Tino Beach. So the Falcons Boys Club works with young men from ages 8 to 18. It's free of charge. There's no cost. And we do that on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays using the game of basketball. We are a Christian organization. So our main goal is to introduce a young boy and his family to the importance of that relationship with their God. And then also to remind him that as he grows older and he becomes a part of this community and entrenched, to learn to give back. And when we hear the word giving back, most persons would think about finances. Money answered all things, but that's a small part of what it is that we encourage them to do. So we've been doing it for 28 years. Originally, we started as a teacher at Tabernacle School, where 2 other teachers came together along with myself and wanted to give back to the community. And then eventually, the Grand Bahama Port Authority offered us the various properties that we have down at the community center. We work with an international group called Champs Missions, Next 3 weeks or so, we're going to be taking our 27th annual basketball trip to Youth Basketball of America. So we have about 15 boys from different primary schools that are literally going to go to the U.S., some of them for the first time. We've been all over the place trying to help get documents for him to be able to explore his talents. So that's one of the many things that we do. And I just want to remind all of the groups in our country that are working with people, just be reminded that we're not in competition, we are in complementary. And once we can figure that out and find out how best to do that, I believe all of the programs that we see finding success, those who are not finding success, they're going to saturate and maturate themselves in the community and continue to evolve in what it is that they do.
What are some of the success stories? We're talking almost 30 years. We're talking about thousands of young men. What are some of the success stories? Or give me a success story about one of the children or now adults or adult who may have gone through the program and where they may be now.
Well, I told you earlier that no man is an island. So for me to just go ahead, a young boy may be a part of the Falcon Boys Club, but he may also be a part of the YMCA. He may also be a part of the sailing club. So the Falcon Boys Club may not be able to take a sole credit for one individual. We pay a part of that village. So we have boys today who are custom officers, police officers, business owners. We partner organizations such as Leslie's Trades, who've been a partner with us in doing the things that we do. So the Falcons Boys Club have boys all over. We literally, after 29 years of mentoring, we have a third generation of a family that's literally a part of the program. So the father was there, his son was there, and then now his grandson is also a part of the program. So don't want to isolate a specific name, but we want to say that all across the discipline where young men are involved, a lot of those young men have been a part of the Falcons Boys Club, and we're just so grateful for that opportunity to be able to play a role in being able to help wherever. In many cases, you help. One of the things that we find, it may be more of where there is a mother in the home and not necessarily a father in the home, but straight across the board, I think we have young men at the harbor who are pilots. We have young men who are pastors. We have young men who are teachers. We have, for 11 years, the Falcons Boys Club doing the Easter, along with Elva Davis, who's the principal of St. Paul's Methodist College, and Lucy Sherman, an ex-educator. We also took girls away for basketball.
Really?
So all of the John Quell Jones and those, I was her coach, going off playing basketball as low as Miami, all the way up high as Jacksonville, and we would have stayed in the state of Florida. So we have done a variety of things where you might have not coached a child, but you might have provided a basketball tournament for a child to come, or you might have hosted a conference. We host a conference called Building Youth is Better Than Bending Men that we host on 11 different islands throughout the Bahamas. This year we've been in Luther for the first time. We've been in Exoma for the first time this year, October 2nd or 9th, working right now with the principal, the district education officer, and the Royal Bahamas Police Force, because for the very first time we're going to take all the boys in Cat Island, and we're going to be having a one-day conference for those boys on the island of Cat Island in October. So we're going around the islands of the Bahamas. Our job is not to keep going back to those islands per se. So whomever we take international or local speakers, and whomever consent to go to that island, we actually try to attach them now to that island that they can go back and work annually, spontaneously, and then we ourselves could go on to move to other islands. So we've been doing a conference.
To move you all around. Is there a big F under the shirt? Like if you unbutton, we'll see the big F, because you know, obviously the Falcons Boys Club, you're like this, instead of S for Superman, you're the F for the Falcons Boys Club. I hear the passion, I feel the passion, and you've been the face for the last 20 plus years. What keeps you motivated?
The calling that I believe that God has on our lives. Me, myself, my father was not intrinsically involved in my own personal life. So I am a father of two biologically, but because of my marriage, we have 3 children. And I see it as an opportunity to be able to just give back to my community. For evil to thrive, a few, not even everybody, a few young men must do nothing. So once I can play my little role, I believe that my little role is going to go a long way. So that's our passion. Whether there's an F for Falcons or F for Faith, for sure there's going to be an F for Fight. And we take opportunities, like I was telling Mr. Ferguson, we've worked with the Ministry of Youth and all the other organizations that provide summer jobs to make sure young men are filling out those forms. We've worked with some of the private sectors, with companies who are looking for young men to be hired. We're one of the persons that they call, hey, do you have a young man that you know of who's looking for a job? So we've done a variety of things, sometimes in the forefront, sometimes in the background, just trying to realize that we can, as a person who served God, I can't serve him from the grave. So I must take every opportunity to be able to try to do so with the little life that I may have until that lasts.
Big
I
life.
love the
Little life, big
I
life.
love the focus on young men, and a lot of times we know that it's happening somewhere, but we don't always give the roses and the kudos to the people that actually do it. And so we certainly want to do that with you, both of you, because you're partnering and working together. That's really important in the community. There are some families that may not have a male presence, and you said you didn't have one, and that's the reason why you're doubling down, you're making this happen, and there's a calling on your life. And so that's wonderful. And of course, we certainly probably want to put out a clarion call to some other men who may find themselves in a similar situation. I believe that's really important.
Yeah. Well, there are men, there are hundreds of men out there. Some of the challenges is that they're not necessarily in the forefront. Like me, who may be all over social media, that might be the thing that they want. So there are hundreds of men who are there volunteering and doing their own programs. There are hundreds of men who are there volunteering, lending assistance, and assistance can vary. I've been to probably from the end of May to up to Monday, I've been to probably 13 graduations.
Wow.
For young boys that you work with, just going and trying to support. And at many of those graduations, a lot of the top graduates this specific year were young men who would have risen to the forefront, and not necessarily risen to the forefront. In some cases at that specific school, the majority of persons who would have gotten the honors or the distinctions, the valedictorian and the salutatorian, were literally, in both cases, young men. In some cases, a young man and a young woman.
Right.
That means
that's
your
commendable.
program is working, building boys better than mending men. And that makes
So
a
I
big
want to
difference.
talk, just before we go into our final wrap up, I just want to talk really quickly with you. If I remember correctly, the Falcon Boys Club also had, and I'm not sure if it's still happening, but do you still do those programs while school is open during the course of the school year? Are there still programs that happen year round where the kids can do other things other than basketball?
We have a free after-school vocational institute, and where we try to encourage companies to come and use the facility. As long as the company is not going to charge the child to use the facility, then we want to furnish that opportunity. So each one of the rooms that the child and the instructor can be involved in can hold 10 children. And we have enough up to 70 boys to be trained by any company. The challenge that we have is during the months of July and August, we personally take a break because we've been doing this for 10 months.
Right.
And we are now preparing for the various things that we do. So we've had sporadic persons being able to come and use the facilities. That's the purpose for it. So anytime during the year, don't have to be in the summer, any company that wants to train the young man because he or she, even young women, we'll allow them to come, can't go on that campus because of the insurance purposes, they can come to the center. And they can have visual, vocal, physical training, whatever it is that that individual or that corporation has to offer. So we want to say to any of the corporations, you can reach out to us. We're partnered with the Grand Bahama Port Authority. So if you are a licensee of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, we want us to work together and collab to be able to continue to see the success of young men in the area of vocation.
Yes, thank you so much, and we truly appreciate that.
You make sure
What happened? What happened
everybody
here?
knows, making sure it's clear. But let's remember, he said free.
Yes.
Any company or organization can use
Correct.
the room at the
100%.
center for free
And it's,
to
it's
train.
an investment
free.
in the children.
I mean, I don't think people understand the cost that comes with when you need to find a training room and you
Right.
need to be able to, help these kids. And so we've been having a whole free day.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
But I'm
But
not
everything isn't free because we're going back to Leslie's Trades. But there's a big benefit though when you're doing business with Leslie's Trades, and everything is not all free. So can we get your final words? Any last things that you want to have customers or potential customers know about your business?
Well, Leslie's Trades is here for the community because, first of all, the kids are the future. So it's not just all you come and pay. We also like to give back. We also like to be getting ready for our big back to school give back.
I remember that.
Yes,
I think the
yes.
Port Authority would have worked
The
with
Port
you on that
Authority was
last year.
awesome with us last year. It was
Fantastic.
awesome, and this year we're going to do big and better. We want to target the kids that are in need.
understood.
And then this year we had a big sponsor where they give us like nice shoes, nice clothes. Yes. So this year is going to be big and better. We're going to double the journey we did last year.
Okay. So looking forward to that.
So that's the free part of it.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
but
Right.
He's always giving back.
Yeah, so Leslie Strait's always committed to giving back.
Okay.
He always committed to giving back.
And for that reason, I think it's beneficial when we talk about buy local, shop at home. Although he's doing international business, you're still buying local and shopping at home. You are supporting a local business, but not only that, you're supporting a business. It's also being a good sponsor, a good corporate sponsor to the community. So I think that's wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today. Pastor Roll, final thoughts about the Falcon Boys Club. Anything that you would like parents or even the children that may be watching the show, anything that you would like for them to know?
I want Mr. Ferguson to know that if his property is not big enough, that he can use the Champs Community Center free of charge for that giveaway.
Right.
Wow, that's an awesome idea.
Now that's a great partnership.
Yeah, that's a great partnership.
And I want to say how pleased I am to be here. I've been a fan of Focus Forward. Very complimentary of what it is that you guys do if you check on your page. And I think what you do is something that brings a breath of fresh air to this city. You bring in the businessmen and women who can sit down in their nice logos and show their upgrade and their growth. Right. The Falcons Boys Club is just pleased to be here, pleased to serve the community. And we have worked with both of you individually away from Focus Forward to be able to furnish what it is that you do or other organizations do. So we're just pleased to be here and thankful for all of the men who volunteered with us and the parents who've had the confidence in us to allow us to facilitate the programs that we do for their children.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Pastor Roll. Certainly a pleasure having you here today. And Alex, you know, we had collaboration in the top segment, and now it sounds like we're having collaboration in the second segment.
At the table.
Yes. You know. Everything around this oval table. Around the oval table. So we're so delighted, you know, definitely to ensure that we can bring together all of the persons here in the community that are making a positive impact in the community. We always talk about buy local, shop at home, but of course there are several initiatives, one of which we would have spoken about today about the Falcon Boys Club, where a lot of good work is happening. It's an investment in the community, an investment in our children, an investment in our future leaders. And so, you know, we certainly can appreciate that. And we also want to encourage you to support Leslie's Trades. That China connection, listen, that's a big deal. So you definitely want to take advantage of being able to be serviced in a way where perhaps you can take advantage of some really good pricing. And of course, you can do so much more, particularly for the businesses, right? You can do so much more with what you can gain with your financial investment in that regard. And so we are so happy to have had this show today.
We are, and I want to point out that we had other organizations on that talked about their free services. That was completely there because they want to be able to make their services accessible to everybody in the community. And then they also, like Pastor Rose said, Falcons Boys Club is for the community of Grand Bahama Resilience Center. That's their center. It's our center. So let's get involved. Let's be a part. And we invite you, go to the website of these organizations, be a part, contribute to the community. It's not always money they're looking for. They want your time. They want your skill. They want your love and passion for those in this community. Let's make a difference.
Yes. And I think the difference is already being made. So let's do more to be able to support that. So I love that. All right. But thank you guys for inviting us into your offices, your businesses, and your homes. Grand Bahama's best talk show, Focus Forward, is always here to serve you. And until next time, I'm Glendia Sweeting.
And I'm Alex Thompson.
Informing you on the positive things that happen only when you focus forward.
Focus Forward, sponsored by Invest Grand Bahama. Like us on Facebook at Invest Grand Bahama Small Business Bureau to stay updated. And drop a business card at the Grand Bahama Port Authority receptionist desk to have your business featured on our show. Tune in next Thursday, same time, same place, for Focus Forward.